Hi, folks. I'm sure you recognize the tortoise and the hare story here on screen. This has everything to do about how you can realistically lose weight. I'll get to that in a moment. First, I've got to tell you, if you believe that there's any herb or a supplement or a celebrity diet or exercise plan or any kind of magic foods or fruits to eat or tricks that melt away fat, then unfortunately I'm going to ask you to leave. Because seriously, all of that stuff literally cost me years of my life, my health, and if you expect any of that to work for you, God bless you, yet please be on your way. In case we haven't met, I'm Gregory Palumbo. I'm actually well known for being a pianist, a composer, a Christian music artist, not a weight loss expert. However, the reason why I'm here today is that I was composing the soundtracks to Dr. Frank Lawless's audio programs for weight wellness that Dr. Phil was recommending and using on his show. And in the course of recording those soundtracks and creating those soundtracks, a lot of new ideas about weight loss and weight loss approaches were coming across my desks. New scientific approaches that you just don't hear anywhere else. And I found it fascinating. So I had a major weight problem. I was having major health issues at the time. And I knew I had to lose weight, so I figured I would pick the best from here. I'd pick things that had a lot of great science and real-world results. So I kind of picked a few things out, and then I called an old friend of mine who turned out to be a celebrity fitness instructor, a top guy in the fitness industry. I got an approach for exercise from him, and I kind of put all this together. And lo and behold, I lose 70 pounds, whereas I spent the previous 20 years, diet after diet after diet, gaining 70 pounds. So, for me and for many people, it's the lack of exercise that really is the root of the weight gain, because you're not getting around, you're not moving around. Food, if you like food like me, then you're eating food as you're sitting at your desk, and I'm at my piano, I'm snacking. So a very sedentary lifestyle, and that was the major point that caused my weight gain, is I just wasn't moving around at all. I never could consistently take the time was the problem. I'd start these weight loss programs, I'd last a few days, but they're all asking for 30 minutes to an hour and a half of my time, and that doesn't include travel time. It doesn't include getting cleaned up after. So this was just far too much time for me. I'm literally spending 12, 13 hours a day at a piano and a desk, and then I have a family. I want to be with my kids, my wife. I'm just not the guy that's going to take the time to then get to the gym or get exercising. It just never worked out for me. So that's the big reason why I put on the 70 pounds. I think you get the point now. I'm not an active guy, most likely never will be, yet I am trimmer, more fit, and I look more like an athlete than any of my friends who spend hours in the gym. So how is that possible? And people regularly tell me things like, well, you obviously spend time at the gym. And I find that absolutely hysterical. You know something? When I do tell them what I do, almost every time I can see it in their eyes, they're not really believing me. It's that different than what we have been taught, what we've been programmed to believe you need to do to get in shape. So what's my secret? That's so hard to believe. I never liked that term secret. I always thought that was leading me to just another disappointment. But this actually turned out to be a real secret at one time. It was a celebrity fitness trainer that I already told you about who was sharing this only with his elite Hollywood clientele and his very, very wealthy clients. It was just extremely good fortune that I happened to know this guy before he became famous. I met him during college. So this was the guy who actually, the only time I ever got anywhere near being in shape was when he would drag me out and make me do some biking. So this was the guy I called. I remember this like it was yesterday, okay? I had just started listening to the Think and Grow Thin audio programs, and those are the programs I was telling you about that I was composing the score for. So, I'm listening to Dr. Lawless's narration, and it's actually making an impact on me, because usually in the past I was always like, oh my goodness, I must do this. I must start losing weight. I must start a diet on Monday. Well, now I suddenly was feeling like motivated, like I kind of want to. It was a different feeling, a slight distinction. But I also knew that I had to add a diet and exercise component to all of this, because Dr. Lawless clearly says you cannot sit on a couch, eating bonbons, listening to an audio program, and expect the weight to come off. But like I told you, I had tried absolutely everything there was to try over the course of 20 years. So I'd start these programs, I'd last a day or two, and then I'd be right back to my old habits. And it's no wonder. Dr. Lawless actually explained to me why we fail at these diets and weight loss programs time and time again. There's a scientific reason why they just can't work the way they sell them to us. And that is, this period of time where humans live in arm's reach of a Starbucks or a 7-Eleven, we don't go starving, right? But the majority of human history was spent hunting, gathering. There were periods of famine that every person experienced, not just once a lifetime, but sometimes multiple times a lifetime. Famine was a common occurrence. Our bodies adapted to it, okay? Over hundreds of thousands of years, our bodies got really good at enduring famines. Well, if you diet, your body doesn't know the difference between a famine and you trying to do something good for it. It assumes there's a famine. You suddenly cut out the foods it loves and the quantities it loves. It figures there must be a famine afoot. It's got a protective device that then allows the body to hoard all of the calories it has and keep hoarding. So anything you do eat, even if it's minor, it's going to store it. Okay? That is the problem with these major changes in diet. Well, the same thing happens in exercise. Little different, but same concept. Exercise, our ancestors would get into an exercise mode either because they're being chased by a predator or because they were chasing prey. It's fight or flight. Again, our body is now in protection mode, and it's not interested in losing fat. It wants to hoard all its energy to use it for the situation. So this is why we do not last on these traditional programs. It's just no wonder. Changes all of what you eat, how much you eat, changes how much you move around. I mean, I was just getting, from my desk to the bathroom, to the piano, to the kitchen, to bed. That's how much I moved around. That's not considered exercise. So even if I was doing 30 minutes a day, that's like an infinite increase in exercise. A total massive change. My body definitely thinks there is a massive problem afoot, right? So, like I said before, and like I'm sure you can see, I'm a regular guy. I love food. I really don't like exercise. I just have a great list of contacts. So I called celebrity fitness trainer Michael Carson. You might know the name. A lot of people do. He's been on everything. Not everything, but a lot of things. Paul Abdul's workouts, Carmen Electra's, Body by Jake, but the list goes on tremendously. He's the mind behind a lot of the exercise equipment that's out there right now. So, I'd known this guy 22 years ago, so I figured, I'm going to be blunt with him, right? And I said to him, listen, Mike, if you tell me to go and exercise every day at the gym or whatever, anything that's traditional here, I'm never going to follow through with that. As much as I know I will die unless I lose weight, I know that for some reason I can never do those things, right? So, and now we know the reason. So, it's funny how coincidental life can be. Here's Dr. Lawless is telling me to only make tiny little adjustments so you can sneak past our natural human defenses to diet and exercise. And what does Michael tell me? He says to me, listen, the reason why these programs are so long and complicated is because they're businesses. They have to be a business. To be a business, they can't be that simple. They've got to be long, they've got to be complicated, so people have to buy it. It's business. It just is very simple. They either have to sell a weight loss program, sell a gym membership, or sell fitness training. It's the way life works. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just the way it is. Don't think it's about you getting into shape. It's about the company making money. Just as the way it works. But he tells me, listen, I've got a few very busy clients, and whether they're celebrities on location for long hours or they're business moguls who are working around the clock. By the way, this is where I was wrong. I thought he has a few billionaire clients. I thought they were all sitting on a beach drinking Mai Tais. No, the reason why they're billionaires is that they're constantly working, apparently. And he's telling me, they're running around London, New York, LA. They're just not consistent anywhere enough to really get to a gym, and they're focused. And so he's telling me this, that he has to come up with an idea that then can work for this particular kind of people, because he wants, obviously, them to succeed. He obviously wants to stay employed, okay? You see so many trainers in Hollywood go for, I mean, celebrities in Hollywood go from trainer to trainer to trainer to trainer. Michael keeps his clients for decades. Why? Because he figured this out. He figured out how to serve his clients, okay? So he tells me he teaches them a trick. Now, he followed that up by saying, look, it's not a trick. It's really simple science. He tells me that the technique basically that he developed as a result of what his clients needed, which is something that works no matter how busy you are, but it has to work. So he develops this technique. He says, what I did was, oh, you should know this about Michael. He is literally in such tremendous, great physical condition. He was the guy that was in that race across the Sahara, been in major things like that, major events, because he's in top physical condition. So what he said is he started to try to determine how little he could do and yet remain in that condition. So that's what he basically did. He whittled it down. He made it simple. What is the least you can do and still have the kind of physique that people want? And that's how this developed. Okay, so he's teaching this technique to his elite clientele of celebrities. He tells me, and this is more interesting to me, by the way, which is shocking, more interesting than the losing weight part, was what he told me next. He says, have you ever noticed how certain celebrities in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s can look 10, 20 years younger than their actual age, and you know that they haven't done the plastic surgery thing? He says, chances are they're people that are doing my trick. And it made complete sense to me, because this thing, and you'll hear about it in a second here, this thing is more than about exercise. It's about vitality, right? It's about, it energizes your whole body. And he says, you know what it does is it keeps you looking young. So that is evidenced by the people that have done this, and there's so many. And it also gives you the energy that you have when you're youthful. And that was something that I was so far removed from at that point that, boy, I was just, any kind of energy would be better than where I was at. And he was right. I had a gut feeling he was right. First of all, this is a guy I've known for many, many years. I trust him, and I know that he's had success with his clients. He keeps them for decades. I knew all of this. So at this point, I'm basically salivating for this secret weight loss technique of the stars, right? This is how it's in my mind now. I know it's cheesy and all, but I see the big banner. There's a brass band playing. It's crazy, right? I did a ticker tape parade. I'm just thinking, I think this really could work. Again, I didn't know quite what it was yet, because he's just telling me the results he's gotten, but I know him, right? So, and he also telling me it doesn't take a big time commitment, which that was my prerequisite to everything. But I admit I was skeptical, not because I didn't believe him at all, or didn't believe it didn't work for the people he's telling me he's used it with. No, I could see that in black and white. I didn't believe anything could work for me anymore. I had lost faith in my ability to ever be able to get trim and fit again. I was just hoping for not dying next week. A young baby, still in the crib in the same room with us. I'm having nightmare visions of my wife waking up to me not breathing one morning. Right? I'm just like thinking, if I can just, get control, forget about being in phenomenal shape. Right? So the point was, I was just skeptical that anything at this point, that I thought I was beyond hope. Right? I know a lot of people feel that way. I've talked to so many people who feel that way. They're like, yeah, it's just, I don't think I'll ever be in great shape again, Believe me. And another thing you always hear, it's just folklore. Oh, once you're 40, you just start getting that pear shape. No, it's because we've spent generally 20 years, working behind a desk, just not doing the active stuff you do when you're a kid, right? And those kids that are overweight are not doing the active stuff that should be doing when they're kids. They're watching the video games and TV. So that, this is all about activity, not age, right? So he goes on to tell me about this quote-unquote secret. And again, he's used this successfully with major Hollywood stars whose living depends upon them looking great. So it may sound outlandish. It really does. But when he explains the natural human mechanism that's behind his technique, It makes complete sense. You know, I'm a science guy. I love that the science is sound, and really, that's, when you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, it makes sense. But I'm also an emotional guy, so I'm like, I tend to go with my gut. And at this point, I just felt something. I'm like, I really believe this could do it for me. Tell me what it is, right? So he goes on though, and he's saying to me, listen, the key to being fit is momentum. And when he said that, I really now I'm really on fire. I'm like, whoa, that's an excellent word for me, because I'm a pianist. I know that I have to practice every day. If I don't practice one day, I know it. 2 days, my family knows it. 3 days, the whole world knows it, right? So I know about momentum. In the business world, whether you like him, hate him, or indifferent, Trump talks about it. He talks about how because in the early 90s, or by the late early 90s, he had become so successful, he lost his momentum. He started focusing on fashion shows, traveling around the world, lost his momentum. Next thing you know, he's $9 billion in debt. So he talks about momentum. I get this, right? So then Michael talks to me about the Chinese water torture thing. I don't know if you've heard about this, and certainly I hope you're not offended by it. It's certainly not meant that way. But there's this thing, at least when we were kids, I don't know if it's real or not, but it was talked about. The concept is definitely real. You've seen this before in stones, right? That if you drip a drip of water, like on your head, one drip, never going to do anything. You might not even feel it, right? But if you drip on the same spot over and over and over, it'll drill a hole. I've seen it in stones. My daughter just brought back a stone from the beach 2 weeks ago that had this phenomenon in it. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's that a drip of water over time can just do this, right? So the Chinese water torture, though, the torture part got me a little scared. I remember at the time, I'm like, what is he going to propose as exercise here, right? But he goes on to explain, listen, what I just told you, one drop can't kill you. Barely feel it at all. Keep doing it, it'll drill a hole. Same thing for exercise. A tiny bit, he says, will literally carve your body. Carve your body. Do you know what happened to me at that moment? My mind flashed on the Grand Canyon. Did that happen for you? Because we were talking about water and then carve. The Grand Canyon was flat land with a little stream running through it. And now, millions of years ago, now, or however hundreds of thousands of years ago, I'm sorry, I'm weak on my geology. Now it's a canyon. It's a canyon. I think it's a mile deep in places. Don't quote me on that, but it's deep. I've been there. It's majestical. I mean, it's carved, turned it into a wonder of the world, one of the greatest wonders of the world. So he says carve. I'm like, wow. I could understand how that could actually have an immensely positive effect. All of us just coming together for me, right? It's probably happening for you. So he's telling me this is better than going to the gym. The caveat to that, he said, was, look, if you're looking for huge biceps, big, muscles, that kind of thing, this won't do that for you. If you're looking for that deep, defined body, defined muscle structure, trim, slim, not overly thin, but just, good, that kind of cut look, that's the healthy look. That's what this is. So, and he also said, though, you've got to do what I tell you, the way I show you. He says, otherwise don't expect it to work. And I've done this before, folks, where I've shown people in person, here's what you do, and then they go away for a week, they come back and they're like, I've been doing this, and they do it for me, and I'm like, how does that have anything to do with what I showed you, right? You can't just make up your own thing. There are some key elements to this that need to be in place, right? Now, I am going to tell you exactly what he told me, completely free of charge. The same way he told me. It was over a phone call because he lives in a different part of the city than me. So we weren't in person. He didn't actually physically demonstrate the exercises to me. He did not. So this is the method he did it for me. I'm going to do the same thing for you. It's had a massive impact on my life. Massive. And I'm going to explain to you why right now. I had a friend who I met because our children were the same age at the time. They were about 2 years old. His, I think, was 3. Mine was 2. So he was an older father. And towards the end of his life, he was telling people that last year, I don't think I'm going to make it to my 60th birthday. He was overweight. He was having health issues. Now, I had started this program a while before he passed away. And I'll never forget, I got to a point, I hadn't lost all 70 pounds yet. I had lost probably around 40, I think. I was enthusiastic, but I wasn't like, I don't know. It's not, see, it's not a focus of your life because you don't have to spend a lot of time doing it. So it's just what was happening, right? So Ron calls me up. He says, Greg, you got to take a look at these pictures. So we get together for lunch or dinner, I forget which, and he shows me on his smartphone a picture that we had taken recently with the families where I'm looking trimmer. Not like now, but I was looking better than I had been. And then he shows me a picture from a father-daughter dance that we had been together at. And the difference was absolutely dramatic and remarkable. I couldn't believe I was that heavy at one time because at the times that I was my heaviest, I would steer away from mirrors and cameras. This picture was taken because it had to be. It was a father-daughter dance at our church, so they do the portrait. And I remember I actually got myself thinner for this picture because I remember I couldn't fit into the suit like 4 weeks before. I'm like, I have got to go on a diet, and I did my best. So I actually felt like I had trimmed. I felt like I was, looking good here. Oh my goodness, I was so heavy. I was, near my peak. I'd maybe lost 10 pounds over the course of that month trying to fit into this suit. You still see in the picture I wasn't fitting in it that great at all. So anyhow, point is he's showing me these two pictures, and I'm shocked. And he's telling me, he says, Greg, I know I got to lose weight. Now, he never admitted to me. Other friends, he admitted I don't think I'm going to see 60. But this conversation, he says to me, I know I need to lose weight, Greg, but I can't take the time for the gym. I can't take the time and the diets. I just, it's a lot of willpower. I'm working a lot of hours. He was flying back and forth. He had a job out of town. So poor guy was going through. He says, I can't take time away from work. I got to be working. I got to have, it just was this catch-22. He just felt trapped. And I so regret I didn't do anything at that moment. I didn't tell him what I was doing. He didn't specifically ask. I think he just assumed I was doing what everybody else does. Eat less, exercise more, right? I just wasn't, I'm a pianist, right? Not a salesperson. And I just didn't feel comfortable. It's hard to talk about someone's weight. I had never mentioned his weight before. I was heavy too. What am I going to talk to him about weight? Who am I, right? I didn't feel well, guy passes away. What if I had said to him, hey, listen, Ron, you just got to do this 90-second thing. To this day, I cannot really, truly, I have to forgive myself. My faith teaches me that, but I can't forget it, and that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I'll do this free of charge for you. I will tell you, we did put together a program because looking back, I would have liked someone holding my hand. I can't tell you how many times I called Michael and Frank, just Dr. Lawless, to ask them, hey, what about this or what about that, right? I had questions. I would have loved to have a program, and I had in my mind what that would be like. And Michael actually was like, listen, you should have different exercises every month because then you really carve the body. Then, it's not just one thing. At that point, I'd just been doing one thing. I think it was like 2-3 months later, just doing one thing. So you should be doing different things. And so this program, step by step, holds your hand. It's completely, I believe, worth your investment to do it. But it's by no means a requirement because I'm going to tell you what to do. You can go off and do it on your own. Just if you are the kind of person that really was like, I want to get this right, I want an expert, and I want somebody to hold my hand along the way, this is great for that. Yeah, nobody can guarantee your success, by the way. I see that there. Nobody can. You are not guaranteed that this will work for you. That's just ludicrous that anyone would be able to. I don't know how you live, where you are, any details about your health or anything about you. So I cannot guarantee that this will work for you at all. It's just something that worked very, very well for me. It has worked for a lot of other people now. It may work for you. It's worth trying. It's not a big investment in time, but nobody can guarantee your success, right? All we can do is do as much as possible to care for you and give you all the tools. And then, then it's up to you to do the stuff, right? Yeah, I have assembled an all-star team of health and wellness coaches, literally. You have Dr. Lawless himself in this system. He's somebody you can interact with and get opinions from. Michael Carson himself in the system. These top people to draw upon. It's an excellent resource. But again, you may not need that. You may be able to use what I tell you today and go off and get the same result I did. It's possible. I've done it. Other people have done it. You may do it as well. Anyhow, the program, this is a lot of slides about how specific guidance can really help you, how weight loss coaches help you. They've been proven to help you in terms of losing weight quicker, keeping it off longer. It's just losing more weight. It's just having a coach is always a good thing, right? Everybody knows that. And now this is a technique that literally, in a way, I feel sorry about sharing it with people because it makes it impossible to procrastinate. Once you know this, it's impossible to procrastinate. It doesn't take any amount of time. It's negligible. And so it makes it impossible to say, oh, I just didn't have time. I'm too busy. No. I have, now this is 4 years for me. I calculate it's 4,000 meals in, and that's going to have relevancy here in a moment. Okay, 4,000 meals in over that, like 4,300. And I have never missed this because there is no way to procrastinate. It's that easy and that quick. Weight loss success. I love these slides. Yes, we all want that. We all want long-term weight wellness. Finally, right? I do have that. I wish that for you, and that's why I'm here. I cannot, just say, listen, I'm not a salesman. I've got to, I can't do that. No, I lost a friend for not doing that. So here I am talking to you about this, and I'm not a good salesman, or I'd just be pitching you hard and reading this word for word, I guess. Oh, so here's why this works. I think this is really important to know why, and then I'll tell you what to do, okay? It works because, and look how simple this is. Look how the greatest things in life are so super simple, it can be said in half of a sentence. Tiny bit of exercise before your meals. Look at that. Not even a full sentence. And you now know what to do, okay? Now, obviously there's a little more. What kind of exercise? How long? What is a tiny bit? That kind of stuff, but this is it, right? That is it. Don't let it just wash by you. This is phenomenally important. Tiny bit of exercise before your meals. Well, how does that work? We'll get to that in a second. But tiny, I mean less than 2 minutes, okay? That's why it's impossible to procrastinate, right? I'm super busy. You are super busy. I guarantee that, right? That's the thing I guarantee. You are super busy. I don't know anybody today that's not super busy. Anything more than 2 minutes, it's something you got to start scheduling. But anything under that, and by the way, this is like under 2 minutes, right? Just around 2 minutes. Yeah, anybody could do that. You tie your shoelace. You brush your teeth in the morning. You wash your face. You do all these things that take 90 seconds. How about this one? We're all waiting for that magic weight loss pill, right? Well, I've timed it. The time it takes to pour a glass of water, open a pill bottle, put a pill in my hand, put it in my mouth, down the water, it's 90 seconds or so already. I'd much rather do what I'm doing and have this athletic condition than what I fear a weight loss pill would do, which would be leaving skin on bones. Have you seen that? It ain't pretty. So I don't know about the weight loss pill. And again, the time it would take would be the same time that I'm suggesting this will take. So if this works for you, then you have no need for a magic weight loss pill. It is your magic weight loss pill. Now, again, before you start saying, I know that was strong wording, I really believe in this, but before you say, no way, impossible, or whatever your choice term is, let me remind you that Michael Carson proved this works in the real world with people whose livelihood depends upon them looking the very best possible. Okay, these celebrities, you couldn't be like experimenting on them, right? So, I think that something's clicking in your gut right about now. And this was about the time when I was like, this is interesting. Here's why. Exercising right before your meals, I'm going to say optimizes instead of boosts. It optimizes your body's metabolic system. Now, I'm going to do another presentation. I've done it in the past. I'll do it again on metabolism. The common thoughts around metabolism are pretty off. So let's not use the word boost. It's a lot of times you see that in this presentation. It's old terminology. This is an old presentation. But let's talk about optimizing. So exercising optimizes your metabolic system. And all it takes is 45 seconds of sustained rigorous activity to cause you to enter the anaerobic state. Okay? And that's the key. Being anaerobic simply means your body needs more oxygen than it can take in. So very simply, your body then has to make up the difference. It does this remarkable thing. It throws your metabolism into overdrive. I just call it optimizing now, right? And since your body doesn't have enough oxygen for what you're doing, yet you keep doing it, it makes up that difference. You see, you've never seen a person running for 45 seconds and then hit the ground unconscious because they ran out of air. No, the body can figure out how to make that work by kicking in all these systems. By the way, it's also the digestive system that gets activated. Your circulatory system gets activated, obviously. Your muscular system obviously gets activated. Your neurological system gets activated. All of those systems get activated, optimized, and then you're eating. So you get your metabolism optimized, and once that metabolism is optimized, the effect of that exercise lasts 4 to 6 hours. Okay, so here's the key thing. No matter how long you exercise, it could be, again, 90 seconds or 90 minutes. The effect of that exercise, the metabolic, the effect to your body, the positive benefits, they last for 4 to 6 hours, no matter how long you have been exercising. In fact, interestingly, the beneficial effects, some of them don't even kick in until you stop. Okay? So it can be said that too much exercise, and they've said this many times recently, that truth is coming out harder and harder every day now, that the more too much exercise can be bad for you. It just doesn't help you the way you think it is. It will be. So, as I mentioned, doesn't matter how long these effects happen. And I want to really actually say, clear up rigorous for you, because when Michael told me rigorous, I immediately pictured him, and he also told me that Olympians do a derivation of this to maximize their endurance and performance. So I'm thinking, oh God, rigorous might really cause me a cardiac problem. I was really afraid of that at that point in my life. So he said to me, no, don't worry about it. It's rigorous for your current levels. So that's what's great about this. He said it could be for anybody. Just get rigorous. The idea is to get out of breath. That's simple, right? Optimizes your metabolism. Then you eat. This is the same. I love this metaphor. If you've ever been camping and you let the fire die out, your campfire die out too much, it's hard. You can't just throw a log on there and it starts up right away. It takes a while. You might have to fan it, etc. But if you don't wait until the fire is burned out, if you have that fire already going and then you throw an extra log on, well, that new log gets burned optimally and used as fuel optimally. The same exact thing goes for your food that you eat after you have optimized all of your systems. It's then optimally digested. The metabolic system optimally delivers the nutrients to the various parts of your body. So that's why this is so impactful, why it works so well. And again, since it's only 90 seconds or so, you just don't have an excuse. I apologize in advance. There's no good excuse to not try this. Again, you already know enough to try it. If you want to buy the product, great. I believe it will help you. However, you can try this. There's no excuse. There's nothing to hold you back. So, it's a tiny investment of time. A tiny investment of time. And the result is the weight loss you've been trying to get for so long. And I want to tell you, everybody talks about the freedom that comes with losing the weight. It's so true. But even better is the freedom of doing it this way. Because I sit here, first of all, it's been 4 years, and I'm not going to say effortless. Nothing's effortless in life, but I certainly have not had to make any real conscious decisions to, uh-oh, I'm starting to get heavy again. Never. Not in the 4 years, right? So this is something that you can maintain fairly easily. And I know that I'm in this condition, and I can always maintain it with this very simple thing that got me here in the first place. It's been 4 years, folks. I've gone through illnesses. I've had deaths in the family, marriages in the family. Also, what happens in 4 years of your life? You know what's gone on in the last 4 years of your life. Tons of life. A lot of things that we all make excuses for saying, oh, well, because of this, I can't do that, right? But because this is only 90 seconds, this tiny investment of time, You can do it no matter what. I have not missed a single, I hate using the word workout, I haven't missed a single one in 4,300 meals plus. It's over 4,300 meals. I have never had occasion that I had to miss one. It's just, I've always washed my hands before. That takes like 30 seconds. I add another 90 seconds. No one knows that I'm gone an extra 90 seconds. No one even notices. People that know me always mock me at dinners. They're like, oh, I see you missed it this time. I'm like, no, didn't you see me? I excused myself. I said I needed to go to the restroom. Well, I then did my thing too. And they're like, oh, you really do this every time, huh? Now, there are certain exercises that do work more effectively than others to activate your entire muscle structure. There's specific timings that do work better as well. And okay, so this is a slide that I know where it's leading. So we put this program together to help you do it the right way, right? Again, this is just something that can help you speed up your results, eliminate the questions you're going to have, right? You'll have people to answer your questions. You'll know how to do it exactly the best way, and you'll be able to, if you're having an issue, let's say you've sprained your wrist or your shoulder or whatever, your knee is a little tweaky this week, you have a way of reaching out to someone and saying, hey, is there something I can substitute? We do that all the time. So I think it's a terrific investment in terms of all of that, in terms of getting you the right timing, the right exercises, and just the support and care that you really need in life to succeed at anything, right? This orange button that they're talking about below, which I'll put below, the rest of this presentation goes on to talk about the product a little more, mainly about the price. It's a very expensive product, and my purpose here today was to tell you this method so that you could go out and spread the word and do it yourself. If you want, you can purchase the product, but I don't want you paying that amount today from here. This is a specific project here. Now, this is only today, only right now. I cannot leave this up because I have licensing agreements with many other people now. But I am allowed to do this presentation right now, right here for you. And the number below here, take a look at that number, because, mind you, the least expensive version of this program now starts at $147. Okay? Look at the number below. That number is the licensing I have to pay and the bandwidth I have to pay. Because originally, folks, I wanted to give this away for free, and I didn't know business and the internet well. I thought the internet's free. This is, all online videos, and all the stuff is online, so it won't cost me anything. Give it away free. No, free is very expensive for me. Bandwidth took me down, the licensing fees, the internet's a big place, so overnight I had a massive debt incurred. So I can't do free. The number below is my bandwidth and my licensing fees, okay, and that's it. So you're getting at this at my cost, I guess. It's not, yeah, my cost, right? So I'm not making money off of this. This is just for you to get going, okay? It's a starter package so you can have the support that you need and want, if that's what you want, right now at a really reasonable price. Still something, still putting some skin in the game, because I also learned that the other problem with free is that people don't value what's free. And my mentor told me, how many things have you gotten for free that you never use, that sit on your computer or sit in your garage? They're great things, aren't they? And I thought back, I'm like, yes, they are, but I don't ever use them. Why? Well, he told me, because I never paid for them. Yet the things I pay for, even if it's a little, I immediately put them to use. It's just human psychology. I never realized that. I wanted to do a good thing, give it away free. It doesn't work out. So it's a little skin in the game for you. It's not bankrupting me, which is a nice thing. And it gives you the support for those of you that really like that support, which is the kind of person I am. I really, I didn't like going it alone. That's why I created this. So want to see you inside. I would love to see you inside. I'll personally be inside. I do all the music coaching, music therapy coaching, great ways of using music to get your mind in the right place for any kind of success. So I do a lot of that with you in there, so you'll see me in there. You'll see Dr. Lawless. You'll see who Dr. Phil calls his go-to girl. That's Dr. Kat. You've seen her on his show, and she's your wellness coach. There's an incredible team in there. We got motivation coaches, and I'm going to get you a little bit of all of that right now so you can get started on the right track. Okay? Still not, you know, getting you leaving you out there on your own. It's just the kind of in between place there. All right. So listen, looking forward to seeing you inside. Wish the very best for you. Take care.